Hello again everyone, welcome back to ptet.chemistry channel. So this is the second part of these lecture tutorials on chemical energetics, which is to do with energy transfer between the system, which is the reaction, and the surrounding, which is the outside. So last lecture tutorials, I covered the idea of exothermic reactions. So exo is the term for outside, and endo is inside, and thermic itself refers to heat. So what happened to the heat energy? So exo refers to outside. So what it means is the system releases heat to the surrounding. So when you release heat to the surrounding, your surrounding is the outside, and your outside will get hotter. So if it get hotter, then the temperature would increase. And how do you monitor temperature? You would monitor it with a thermometer. Okay, you can see temperature, you can record temperature by looking at thermometer. So that is your thermometer shows temperature going up. So thermometer is the apparatus, temperature is the reading. And on the other hand, when you have endothermic reactions, what actually happens is you have the system absorbing heat. So here, instead of releasing, the system takes in the heat energy. So meaning to say the thermal energy, and it takes it from the surrounding. And when you take it from the surroundings loses energy. And when your surrounding loses energy, your surrounding will get colder. And when the surrounding get colder, that is what our thermometer will read. What will your thermometer read? Your thermometer will record a temperature, which is your reading, going down. Okay, that is basically what this tutorial is about. It's basically about the experimental data. If you are in the lab and you are doing this, how do you interpret the data? Your data will include graphs, and therefore you have to look at temperature changes. Our thermometer cannot tell us temperature changes. It can only tell us the reading of temperature, either at the beginning and as the reaction proceeds. This applies for endothermic reactions as well as exothermic reactions, which we cover a lot in the last lecture tutorial. Anyway, so let's get started with these lecture tutorials. So in this lesson note, you had this thing delta H. You don't have to worry too much about it. So I'm just going to cancel it out. So this is not important, at least not for combined science chemistry curriculum. So don't worry too much about it. But in an exothermic reaction, we can look at these experimental data. So this is experimental data which are very, very important. So essentially what you have is you could have a reaction where you have like that, and then you have thermometer. So thermometer measures temperature. So you have thermometer measuring the temperature of the solution as the two things react perhaps, or as you put in a solid inside and they do reactions, what would the temperature on the thermometer read as? Okay, this number 3 there is not entirely relevant. It's just that at this particular time the reaction started. So the reaction started at this time. How do I know the reaction started at this time? Because if you look earlier in the experiment, this is time, right? So earlier in the experiment, the temperature remained pretty much the same. That is because you allow the temperature to settle down to a reading as you dip the thermometer inside before you do any reaction. Then at this particular time, you mix the other reactant inside and the reaction happens to release heat. How do I know the reaction or the system release heat? Because this is the surrounding. The solution, the water, is the surrounding, and this is the initial temperature. So initial meaning at the very beginning. Okay, so temperature at the start, or you call it Ti. Ti basically is initial temperature. Initial is the English word for at the beginning, at the start. Okay, beginning or at the start. And then the temperature goes all the way up there, and then it comes back down. Why does the temperature come back down again? Why temperature falls again? Because, essentially, your surrounding is not that hot, but because the reaction, the system gives out a lot of heat energy, the surrounding heats up. But then when the surrounding heats all the way up, eventually it will cool down. So what happens is the reaction finishes. If the reaction finishes, then your system will cool down again. Your system, all your reactions cools down. Why do they cool down? Because the temperature of the air of the outside of the surrounding, they are not as hot as what the reaction had proceeded to, and therefore it will cool back down until it reaches back to this temperature if you keep on monitoring it. Okay, just like if you have a cup of hot water, eventually the hot water will cool down to normal temperature again. That's essentially what happened. The reaction heats up. The reaction heats up the surrounding gets hotter. That is because the surrounding get hotter because the surrounding received the energy from the system. The system releases heat. So if the system releases heat, the surrounding, which is what we sees an increase in temperature. And when you extrapolate means we want to work out this point there, which is going to be the maximum or the final temperature. So TF is the final temperature. That is essentially the maximum highest temperature. That is the maximum temperature that this reaction could reach as you mix them together, as you mix the reactants together at this particular time, which we cannot monitor or obtain directly. We can see all these things, but we can extrapolate, we can extend using ruler. They meet at this point. This is final temperature. This is delta. Delta meaning change in temperature. Delta T is basically change in temperature. Change in temperature can be measured by final temperature minus initial temperature. Your thermometer can give you this. Your thermometer can give you that. Your thermometer cannot give you this. You have to do final temperature minus initial temperature give you delta T. So delta T equal to final temperature minus initial temperature there. If that was for exothermic, then how does an endothermic reaction looks like? Remember in the endothermic reactions, so what happened is the surrounding lose energy to the system. The surrounding lose energy to the system. So the system is the reaction. The system will absorb energy. The system absorb all it takes in the thermal energy from the surrounding. So if you do that, then your surrounding will get colder. So surrounding get colder. Therefore, it goes the opposite way. When your surrounding get colder, we will see the temperature of the surrounding dropping or decreases. Here, this is your initial temperature, and then where you extrapolate the point using ruler, these are from practical details, that's your final temperature. If you have delta T again, which is change in temperature, you can't get change in temperature from your thermometer because your thermometer only gives you reading of temperature. So that is final minus initial. As you could see, the final is lower than initial, therefore you get delta T. Your change in temperature is going to be negative. That's because temperature drops. Temperature drops because your surroundings get colder. Your surroundings get colder because your surrounding lose energy to the system. So what we can say is the system absorbs thermal energy or heat energy from the surrounding. That is because this is the characteristics of endothermic reaction. It takes in the heat energy from the surrounding. Okay? I'd just like to finish off this topic by, going through one of these type of questions. These are going to be in alternative to practical. We haven't had a chance to do a lot of practicals, but then when you have the chance, you should really learn how to read the thermometer, such as these. So these are initial temperature of both solution H and J. This is basically, what was this reaction? This is between sulfuric acid. If you read the question, solution H is sulfuric acid. The formula of sulfuric acid was covered in chemical formula in year 9. And this is the formula of sulfuric acid, H2SO4. What you also get is solution J, which is aqueous sodium hydroxide. So you get Na plus and OH minus. The formula of sodium hydroxide is NaOH. what you get is an acid, which is the H2SO4, and then you also get sodium hydroxide, which is a base. So this is a base or an alkali. This is an example of neutralization reaction, and we know that neutralization reaction is an exothermic reaction. This was stated in the syllabus, where you are supposed to be able to state reaction between an acid and alkali or a base is a neutralization, and it will give out heat energy to the surrounding, to the water, to the solution. Now, both of these solutions have initial temperature. Initial means at the beginning, at the start. You are above 20 degrees Celsius. The diagrams below show parts of the thermometer for the maximum. Maximum means the highest temperature recorded in each experiment. When you have this much sulfuric acid and this much sodium hydroxide, so the difference between each of these experiments, if this is experiment 1, 2, 3, and 4, you could see that total volume remains 100 cm cube, but then you have a different volume of H and J, sulfuric acid and sodium hydroxide. Different volume of sulfuric acid, different volume of sodium hydroxide for each of these, and you get different maximum or the highest temperature. This is 20 degrees Celsius if you read carefully, and this is 30 degrees Celsius. So what I can say is, when you read the thermometer, you read from there to there, and therefore since this is 20 and this is 30, this is 21, 22, 23, 24. So this is like halfway in between 21, 22, 23, 24. So it's halfway in between 24 and 25. Therefore, you read it as 24.5 degrees Celsius for this experiment 1. 24.5 degrees Celsius. We don't need the unit because the unit is already in the heading there. There's for 80 of H and 20 of J. There's experiment 1. Read your table carefully because the header is your label, and labels are everything in experiment. What is the temperature rise? How much has the temperature increased? This is the highest temperature it reads to. What is your initial temperature? Well, you got to read the question. Initial temperature for both of them was 20 degrees Celsius. So you know, initial temperature was 20 degrees Celsius. This is your final or your maximum temperature. So your delta T is your final minus your initial temperature. So 24.5 minus 20 degrees Celsius. On my calculator, I get 4.5 degrees Celsius there. For the second one, if you read the thermometer correctly, you will see that that is 29 degrees Celsius because there's 20, 21, 22, 23, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 29 there. To be consistent, I should really do 29.0, but the fact that they did not write 20.0 there, I think I will be forgiven. I would not be penalized if I do 29 there. Initial temperature remained 20 degrees Celsius because these are different experiments. So they all started from the same from 4 different solution mixture, all of which had the same initial temperature of 20 degrees Celsius because these are separate experiments. Okay, so what I gotten there is final temperature minus initial temperature. I get 9 degrees Celsius on my calculator. Now the next one, 40 and 60 there. So if you read this carefully, this is going to be 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 27 degrees Celsius. And the last one there, again, is somewhere in between there. So it's 21, 22, 23, 24. So it's in between 23 and 24. It's 23.5 degrees Celsius for the fourth one there. 27th and 23.5. 27th and 23.5. So my final minus my initial temperature on my calculator, my final temperature minus my initial temperature on my calculator, I get 3.5 degrees Celsius. Filling in the table involves reading the thermometer correctly. So the temperature is the reading from the thermometer. Some students might not be able to get the idea of temperature rise. It basically means the difference in temperature. How much has the temperature increased? Rise means increase. They both started from 20 degrees Celsius if you read the question carefully, and some students might have missed this particular point. If you don't read information, if you don't read question, you will always lose out. Alright, so that's it really for this lecture tutorials on chemical energetics, and we'll follow up some more on this topic with some work tutorials. Tutorials on the particular work will help you to master more of the concept on exothermic and endothermic reaction. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click the button on the bottom right to subscribe to my channel and share the channel widely with other people, and follow me at ptet.chemistry across all the popular social media platforms. I'll see you in the next tutorial video.